describe or modify a noun or pronoun. Okay? So we're just going to do a little activity here where we are going to describe this stuffed animal here. Right? Now, since we are saying that adjective describes a noun, the noun here would be a bear. I want someone to describe this bear to a friend who's not in class. So any volunteers? Hi. Yellow.
Also red. Red and green. And who's not red?
A red book. And what about this here?
He has a green vest on.
A blue. You can say it's a small bear. And then you can talk about the colors. It's yellow. It has a red book. Blue and white checkered jersey and hats. We have different types of adjectives. And that example was descriptive. Now if we have another stuffed toy, we have Mickey Mouse, right? How many stuffed toys do we have? 2. We have 2. Do you know that the number 2 is also an adjective? Yes. Basically, adjectives gives us more information about the noun. So we looked at descriptive adjectives, which would be the colors, size. Then we looked at quantitative adjectives, which tells us the number of stuffed toys we have. We have other adjectives. We have interrogative adjectives, which will be like which and who. We have demonstrative adjectives, like this and that. And we also have possessive adjectives, like my or his. Okay? In the first sentence, we have a normal plain sentence here. Birds decorating the wall. There's no adjectives here. If you have to explain this to your friend, all we know is that it has birds on the wall. We don't know anything about the color, how big they are, how small they are. We don't know anything. So we try to improve on this sentence here by introducing some adjectives. Right? So we have 2 yellow pretty birds decorating the ancient wall. You all see the difference between the 2 sentences? Yes. This sentence with the adjectives makes it more clearer for the reader. Our quantitative adjective 2, which tells us the number of birds. We have the color, yellow, which is descriptive. And we also have pretty, which is also descriptive and tells us about the beauty of the birds. We also have the word ancient, which is used to describe the world. So by introducing the different types of adjectives in the sentence, makes it easier for us to understand. Degrees of comparison. And under this degrees of comparison, we have 3 forms. In first form, we have positive degree of comparison. We have comparative. And we have superlative. The first one, the positive degree of comparison, is where you're really speaking about one object or person. So the adjective will be something like bad or tall. You're only referring to one person or thing. That's the positive degree. In the comparative degree now, this is where you are comparing one object or person to another, right? So in the comparative degree, you can have worse, and we can have taller, right? And the superlative degree is where you compare one thing to a group or class. In this case, we will have worst, and we have tallest. Is that clear? Yeah? Alright, so we have 3 boys here. And we are going to use the adjective tall. So, which of the degrees we will use to talk about tall for Donnell? Tall, the positive degree. Yeah. So our sentence will be Donnell is tall. So Donnell, come out here a little bit. Donnell is tall. So then we are going on to the comparative degree. Taller. So Donnell is tall
But Brian is taller.
But Brian is taller.
Sharon is taller.
Good. Oh, we have Alexander here. He will be the tallest out of the group. Right? So we have tall here, we have taller, and then we have tallest. Right? So with Daniel, if you compare Daniel, we're going to use the positive degree. If you compare the two of them, you're going to use the comparative degree to state that he is taller. And we're going to use the superlative degree to compare him to everybody else. Yeah? Alright, thank you guys. What I want you to note is that the comparative degree can be formed in different ways. One way is if you add ER at the end of the word. Right? An example of this would be smaller. The next way is if you add the word more before the word. Okay? And an example of this can be more beautiful. Another way to form the comparative degree, the word change completely. I say words. So the word change completely. We're going to move on to the superlative degree now. Yes. Superlative degree. Yes. We can add EST at the end. Right? So we can have smallest. We can add most. We can add most sets. And we will get most beautiful. We can change worse to worse with the T. Okay? Now the rule applies for most also. Once the adjective has more than 2 syllables, we use most in the superlative degree. We are going to form sentences with these adjectives. 5 sentences will be in the comparative degree, and 5 will be in the superlative degree.
Happier. Happy. He is happier than I am. And he is the happiest of all the children in the class.
Alright, what about Akila?
I good.
Good? Yes.
I got better grades this term than last term.
I got better grades this term than last term. Very good.
I use more. There are more oranges. There are more oranges than apples in the basket.
There are more oranges than apples in the baskets. Good. Recap of the lesson now. Now remember, adjectives are words that describe or modify a noun or a pronoun. Okay? Now we also looked at different types of adjectives. We looked at descriptive adjectives. Okay? When you describe the noun or pronoun. We looked at quantitative, which tells you how many. Right? We looked at demonstrative, which would be like this and that. Possessive, which shows ownership, like my book. His bag, which shows ownership. But our focus today was on degree of comparison. Right? We have the positive degree. Okay, let's talk about one object or thing. Right? So if you look at this sentence here, I have a tin rope. Tin is the adjective which describes the rope. And the rope is only one object. Okay? The second thing we looked at was the comparative form. Right? In the comparative form, one object or person is compared to another. Okay? So if you look at question 3, yesterday's weather was worse than today's. You're comparing the weather yesterday to today's weather. Okay? And we also look at the superlative form, where you compare one object or person to a group or class. In the second question here, among the pupils in the class, he is the brightest, right? And the class is more than 2. The degrees of comparison are formed. We looked at the comparative, which can be formed adding ER at the end, more before the word, or when you change the word completely, like in the case of worse. Okay? We also looked at the superlative forms, where you add EST at the end. We add most before the word, and we change word completely, like worse to worst. with the TIN. Okay? Alright. You will be given a handout on adjectives where you have to underline the adjectives in the sentence and insert the correct degree of comparison in the sentence.